The day begins very slowly. There is no sudden movement, no loud sound to pull the world awake. Only a soft gray light rests gently over the stone streets of Rome. The air feels cool and still. It carries the quiet memory of the night. The buildings stand close together, their walls pale and worn. They have seen many mornings like this, and they do not rush this one. Wooden doors remain closed. Shutters rest gently against windows. Inside, people are still sleeping. Outside, the street waits. Flat stones lie beneath your feet, smooth in some places, rough in others. They hold a faint chill, slowly releasing the coolness of the night. A thin stream of water moves quietly along the side of the road. It flows gently, without sound, catching the first hint of light. Far above, the sky begins to soften. Dark gray turns into a pale blue. The change is slow, almost unnoticeable. A bird calls once. The sound is light and distant. Then silence returns. For a while, nothing changes. And then, a door opens. It is a soft sound, wood shifting against wood. A man steps outside. He does not hurry. He pauses, standing in the doorway, feeling the morning air. He wears a simple tunic, loose and worn from use. His hair is slightly untidy, still shaped by sleep. He looks down the street. There is nothing he is searching for. He is only noticing. After a moment, he steps forward. His feet touch the stone. His footsteps are quiet, steady, unimportant. They blend into the stillness. From another building, a second door opens. A woman steps out, holding a small clay jar. She moves carefully. The jar is smooth, shaped long ago by steady hands. She walks to the edge of the street where water has gathered. Kneeling slightly, she lowers it into the shallow flow. The water moves around it in soft ripples. She lifts it again, watching a few drops fall. Then she stands. She returns inside. The door closes gently. Nothing feels rushed. The morning continues to unfold in small, quiet moments. More light begins to touch the upper edges of the buildings. A soft golden color appears along the rooftops. Down below, the street remains cool. A wooden cart stands nearby. It has been left there since yesterday. Its wheels are thick and worn. Its frame is strong but marked by time. A piece of cloth rests loosely over part of it. It does not move. It simply waits. As the light grows, more doors begin to open. People step out one by one. Each movement is slow. Each action is simple. A man stretches his arms gently, looking up at the sky. Another adjusts a bundle on his shoulder. Two people pass each other. They do not speak. They nod once. It is enough. The city is waking, but softly. From somewhere nearby, a warm smell begins to drift into the air. Fresh bread. Inside a small bakery, the day has already begun. A fire glows inside the oven. The heat is steady and quiet. Flour dust rests lightly on wooden surfaces. Hands move slowly, shaping dough. There is a rhythm here, a calm, repeated motion. Nothing rushed, nothing forced. Outside, a young boy walks past. He carries a small basket. He notices the smell. He turns his head slightly, but he keeps walking. His steps are light. The sun rises a little more. Now the light reaches the ground. It spreads slowly across the stone. Shadows form, long, soft, stretching shapes. They move gently as the light changes. A cat appears from a narrow alley. It walks quietly, its body smooth and careful. It finds a patch of sunlight. It sits. Its eyes begin to close. The warmth is enough. For a moment, everything feels still again. Even as the city wakes, there are small pockets of silence, places where nothing moves, where time feels slow and wide. A fountain can be heard nearby. Water falls steadily into a stone basin. The sound is soft, constant. A man stands beside it. He washes his hands slowly. Water runs over his fingers. Drops fall back into the basin. He finishes, steps away. Another person takes his place. The motion continues, simple, unbroken. Further along the street, a shopkeeper opens his stall. He lifts a wooden panel and secures it above. The movement is practiced. Inside, small goods are arranged neatly. Clay lamps, simple tools, folded cloth. He adjusts them slightly, not because they need it, but because it is part of the morning. A soft breeze passes through the street. It carries soft scents, stone, dust, distant cooking fires. The city feels alive now, but gently. Nothing demands attention. Nothing interrupts the calm. Everything exists quietly, side by side. And the day continues to begin, slowly, softly, without effort. A little later, the street grows just a bit more active. The sounds increase, but only slightly. Footsteps become more frequent. Voices appear, but remain low. No one speaks loudly. There is no need. A man walks past carrying a bundle of cloth over his shoulder. The fabric hangs loosely, moving gently as he walks. Another man follows behind him, guiding a small donkey. The animal steps carefully along the stone. Its hooves make soft, steady sounds. They echo lightly between the buildings. The donkey carries simply goods tied in small sacks. Nothing heavy, nothing urgent. They move at a calm pace. Further ahead, a woman stands outside her doorway. She shakes out a piece of cloth. Dust lifts into the air for a moment, catching the sunlight. Then it settles again. She folds the cloth slowly, carefully. Every movement feels familiar. Across the street, an older man sits on a low stool. He watches the day. He does not move much. He simply observes. People pass by. Some glance at him. Some do not. It does not matter. He remains where he is. The warmth of the sun slowly reaches him. He adjusts his position slightly, and then becomes still again. The bakery now is open. A few people stand nearby. They wait quietly. The baker moves in and out, carrying fresh loaves. The smell is warm and soft. It fills the air without being strong. One by one, people take their bread. There is no hurry, no pushing, just a quiet exchange. A few coins, a small nod, and then they leave. The street continues to fill, but it never becomes loud. Even in movement, there is calm. Even in activity, there is stillness. And as the morning grows, the rhythm of the street settles into something gentle and steady, something that has happened many times before and will happen again tomorrow.
The morning continues without hurry. The light has now settled fully into the street. It rests gently on the stone, warming it little by little. The coolness of the night begins to fade. In its place comes a soft, steady warmth. Not strong, not sharp, just enough to be felt. The shadows grow shorter now. They move slowly along the walls, changing shape as the sun rises higher. Nothing about this change feels fast. It happens quietly, almost without notice. More people are now awake. More doors stand open. Inside the homes, small movements can be heard. The sound of clay bowls being placed on wooden tables. The soft scrape of a stool being moved across the floor. The quiet murmur of voices, still gentle and low. Outside, the street continues its slow rhythm. A man walks by carrying a small basket filled with figs. The fruit is dark and soft, resting carefully inside. He holds the basket with both hands, keeping it steady as he moves. His steps are measured. He is not in a rush to arrive anywhere. He passes another man who carries nothing at all. They exchange a brief glance, a small nod, then they continue in opposite directions. Nearby, a woman sits on a low step just outside her doorway. She holds a piece of fabric in her lap. Her fingers move slowly, guiding a needle through the cloth. The thread pulls gently, creating small, careful stitches. Her work is quiet, steady. She does not look up often, only now and then to rest her eyes. The sounds around her do not disturb her. They are part of the morning. Further down the street, the small shop has begun to receive visitors, one at a time. A man enters, looking over the simple goods. He lifts a clay lamp, turning it slightly in his hands. He studies it, not with urgency, just with quiet attention. The shopkeeper stands nearby. He does not speak much. He waits. The man sets the lamp back down. He chooses a different one. A small exchange follows. Coins pass from hand to hand. A soft nod. And then the man leaves. The shop returns to stillness again. Between each visitor, there is silence. The kind of silence that does not feel empty, but full, in a quiet way. A child runs briefly across the street. His steps are quicker than the others, but even this movement feels soft. He is not chased. He is not called back. He slows on his own, then stops. Looking down at the ground, he notices something small, a smooth stone, perhaps. He bends to pick it up. Turning it in his fingers, he studies its shape. For a moment, nothing else exists for him. Then, without concern, he places it in his pocket and walks on. Near the fountain, a small group has gathered. Not in a crowded way, just a few people, standing at a distance from one another. Each takes a turn, filling a jar, washing hands, letting the cool water run over their skin. The sound of the fountain continues, unchanged, a soft, endless flow. It blends with the quiet voices, with the gentle footsteps, with the distant movement of carts, all of it becoming one steady sound. Above, a bird lands on the edge of a rooftop. It watches the street below. Its head turns slowly from side to side. Then it settles, folding its wings. The breeze returns, just slightly. It moves through the narrow street, brushing lightly against walls and doorways. It carries with it faint smells, fresh bread, warm dust, a hint of smoke from cooking fires beginning to burn more strongly. The air feels alive, but calm. Nothing pushes too hard against the senses. Nothing demands attention. Even the busiest moments feel quiet. A man pulls a cart into the street now. The wooden wheels roll slowly over the stone. The sound is low and steady. Inside the cart are small clay jars, arranged carefully so they do not touch. He checks them once, making sure they are secure. Then he begins to move, step by step. The cart follows him behind, not heavy, not loud, just part of the morning. A dog appears briefly from an alley. It pauses, looking around. Its ears move slightly, catching the sounds. Then it walks across the street, unbothered, unnoticed by most. It disappears again into another narrow path between buildings. Time continues to pass, but it does not feel like time is moving. It feels as if everything is simply continuing, as it always has, as it always will. The bakery has fewer people now. The first rush has passed. Inside, the baker moves more slowly, arranging what remains, cleaning small traces of flour from the surface. His work continues, but without urgency. Across the street, the older man still sits on his stool. He has not moved far, only slightly adjusting his position. The sunlight now reaches him fully. It rests on his shoulders. He closes his eyes for a moment, not sleeping, just resting, letting the warmth settle in. The street is fuller now, but it is still peaceful. People move around each other without effort. No one pushes, no one calls out loudly. Even when two carts pass each other, they do so slowly, with care, with space. There is time for everything here. Nothing needs to be rushed. A man walks by carrying a small bundle wrapped in cloth. He holds it close, carefully. Her steps are even. She looks ahead, but without focus, as if she knows the path well enough not to think about it. The sun rises higher. The light grows stronger, but still soft. It fills the spaces between the buildings. It touches the walls, the ground, the faces of those who pass through it. And yet the calm remains. It does not fade. It does not change. It simply continues as part of the day. By now, the morning has fully arrived, but it does not feel like a beginning anymore. It feels like something steady, something ongoing. The quiet rhythm of life in the streets of Rome continues, unbroken, gentle, endless in its own way.
The morning moves forward in a quiet, steady way. By now, the sun has risen higher into the sky. Its light settles more fully into the streets, touching every stone, every wall, every doorway. The coolness that once rested on the ground has almost disappeared. In its place, a soft warmth spreads slowly. It is not heavy. It does not press. It simply rests like a calm hand over the city. The street is more active now, though it never feels busy. People move through it in a natural rhythm. Each person follows their own quiet path. There is no need for speed. A man walks slowly along the edge of the road, carrying a bundle of thin wooden sticks. They are tied together loosely with rope. Each step he takes causes them to shift slightly, creating a faint, dry sound. It blends into the rest of the morning noise. Nearby, a woman pours water from one clay vessel into another. She stands just outside her home. The water flows in a smooth line, catching the sunlight as it moves. A few drops fall onto the ground. They darken the stone for a moment.
then slowly disappear. Inside many homes, the day has fully begun. Simple meals are being prepared. Nothing large, nothing complicated, just small portions of bread, olives, and fruit. The sounds of eating are quiet, soft movements, low voices. Occasionally, the faint clink of clay against wood. Back in the street, the bakery now stands mostly still. Only a few loaves remain. They rest quietly on the shelf. The warmth from the oven has softened. The air inside feels calm, almost sleepy. The baker wipes his hands slowly on a cloth. He looks out into the street for a moment, not searching, just watching. Then he returns to his work inside. Further along, the small shop sees another visitor, this time a woman. She moves carefully, her eyes passing over each item. Her fingers lightly touch a piece of folded cloth. She lifts it slightly, feels its weight, its texture, then places it back. Nothing feels rushed. Every choice is given time. Outside, a cart passes slowly. The wheels roll over the stone with a soft, steady rhythm. Inside the cart are clay pots of different shapes and sizes. They are stacked carefully, with small pieces of cloth placed between them to keep them from touching. The man guiding the cart walks beside it. One hand rests lightly on the edge. He glances down now and then, making sure everything remains steady. He does not speak. He does not hurry. The cart continues forward, slowly, gently. A few children now sit together near a doorway. They are quiet. One of them traces shapes in the dust with a small stick. The others watch. Occasionally, one adds a line or a mark. There is no game with rules, no clear beginning or end, just small movements shared quietly. The shapes in the dust remain for a while, until a passing footstep softens them again. Near the fountain, the steady flow of water continues. It has not changed since the early morning. It falls in the same rhythm. It fills the basin. It overflows slightly into the narrow channel below. People still come and go, one at a time. Each person takes what they need and then leaves. There is no gathering, no crowd, just a quiet passing of moments. Above, the sky has grown lighter. The soft, pale blue is now more open. The sun sits higher, though its light remains gentle. A bird lifts from the rooftop. Its wings move slowly at first, then carry it away over the buildings. Its shadow crosses the street for a brief moment, then disappears. A breeze moves again, slightly warmer now. It carries different scents than before. The smell of bread has faded. Now there is a hint of cooked grains, a touch of herbs, something faintly earthy. The air changes slowly, just like everything else. The older man who sat earlier now stands. He moves carefully, placing his weight slowly from one foot to the other. There is no strain in his movement, only patience. He steps away from his stool, looks down the street once more, then begins to walk. His pace is slow, but steady. He does not look back. The stool remains where it is, empty now, but still part of the street. Across from him, a doorway remains open. Inside, shadows rest against the walls. A faint light touches the floor just beyond the entrance. A figure moves within, but only slightly, just enough to show that life continues quietly inside. The street holds both movement and stillness at the same time. Neither one takes over. They exist together, without conflict, without change. A man pauses near the edge of the road. He bends down, adjusting the strap of his sandal. His fingers work slowly, tightening it just enough. Then he stands, takes a step, feels the ground beneath him, and continues walking. Nearby, a woman carries a basket filled with small vegetables. The colors are soft, greens and muted browns. Nothing bright, nothing sharp. She holds the basket against her hip. Her steps are even. She does not look around much. Her path is known. She follows it without thought. The sun continues its quiet rise. The shadows grow shorter again. They gather closer to the base of the buildings. The warmth becomes slightly more noticeable, but still gentle, still calm. Nothing presses too strongly against the senses. Time moves forward, but it feels wide, open, unhurried. Even as more people pass through the street, the feeling remains the same. A quiet rhythm, a steady flow, a peaceful continuation of small, simple moments, the kind that do not ask to be remembered, but remain softly all the same. Late morning settles over the city now, not as a clear moment, but as a gradual change. The early stillness has softened into a gentle activity. The street breathes slowly, each movement part of a larger calm. Nothing stands out, nothing demands attention. Everything simply exists in its place. And the day continues just as quietly into the hours ahead.
The morning slowly drifts toward midday. There is no clear moment when one becomes the other. It happens gently, like light shifting across a wall. The sun now rests higher in the sky. Its warmth settles more fully onto the stones of the street. The ground no longer feels cool. It holds a soft heat, steady and quiet. Not too strong, just enough to be noticed. The air has changed as well. It feels stiller now. The breeze that once moved lightly through the narrow street comes less often. When it does pass, it is warm and soft, carrying only the faintest movement. The shadows have shortened. They rest close to the edges of buildings, no longer stretching far across the road. Everything feels closer to the light, closer to stillness. Yet the gentle rhythm of the street continues. A man walks slowly with a clay jug balanced carefully against his side. He keeps one hand on it, steadying its weight. The surface of the jug is smooth, slightly worn from use. As he walks, a small drop of water slips from the rim and falls to the ground. It darkens the stone for a moment, then fades away. Nearby, a woman sweeps the area just outside her doorway. Her broom is made of thin, bundled reeds. It moves softly across the ground, gathering dust into a small line. The sound is light, dry, almost like a whisper against the stone. She works without pause, slow, steady movements. When she finishes, she rests the broom against the wall, then stands for a moment, simply looking down the street, not searching, just noticing. From inside one home, the faint sound of grinding can be heard. Grain is being crushed slowly between stones. The movement is repetitive, circular. The sound is low and steady. It blends with the quiet life of the street outside. A cart passes again. This one moves even more slowly than the others. The wheels press gently against the warm stone. The sound they make is softer now, as if the heat has calmed even the wood. The man guiding it wipes his forehead with the back of his hand, not in discomfort, just a small natural movement. He continues forward without stopping. At the small shop, the flow of visitors has grown even lighter. Long moments pass between each person. The shopkeeper stands in the shade of his stall. He adjusts a piece of cloth, moves a clay item slightly, then becomes still again. He does not seem to wait. He simply remains.
The street does not ask for more. Across the way, the place where children once sat is now empty. The dust still holds faint marks from their earlier play, lines and shapes softened by passing footsteps. They remain quietly until they too will fade. A dog lies in a shaded area beside a wall. Its body is stretched out along the stone. Its eyes are closed. Its breathing is slow. Even the small movements of its chest feel calm and steady. It does not react to the passing people. It rests fully in the quiet warmth of the day. The fountain continues its endless motion. Water falls, water gathers, water moves on. A man stands beside it, filling a small cup. He lifts it slowly, drinks, pauses, then lowers it again. A few drops fall from the edge, returning to the basin. He steps away without sound. The space remains open for the next person. Above, the sky feels wider now. The pale blue has deepened slightly, though still soft. The sun rests high, but its light remains gentle. It does not press too hard against the eyes. It simply fills the space. A bird crosses slowly overhead. Its wings move in long, steady strokes. There is no hurry in its flight. It disappears beyond the rooftops. Back on the street, a woman carries a folded cloth over her arm. She pauses near a doorway, knocks lightly. The door opens just enough. A brief exchange happens. No words carry into the street, only the quiet movement of hands passing the cloth inside. Then the door closes again. She continues on her way. The street holds these small moments gently. Nothing stays for long. Nothing needs to. Each action arrives and then fades. A man sits on a low step, holding a piece of bread. He eats slowly, one small bite at a time. He does not rush to finish. Between each bite, he rests his hands, looks down the street, listens. The sounds around him remain soft, steady, unchanging. Further along, a doorway stands open wider than the others. Inside, a small table rests near the entrance. On it are simple items: a bowl, a cloth, a clay cup. Light falls across them gently. A figure moves in the background, slowly, quietly. The scene remains still, even in motion. The warmth of midday grows just a little more. It settles into the walls, into the ground, into the air itself. Yet it does not overwhelm. It remains part of the calm, part of the steady rhythm. A man pauses in the street, shifting a bundle from one shoulder to the other. The movement is slow, measured. He adjusts the weight until it feels right, then continues, step by step. Nothing changes quickly here. Even effort feels gentle. Even work feels quiet. The older man who walked earlier now appears again, further down the street. He moves at the same pace as before, unchanged, unhurried. He passes others without stopping, without speaking. Yet nothing feels distant. Everyone shares the same calm space, a shared quiet. The shop, the homes, the street, the sky, all part of the same slow moment. Time continues to move, but it does not feel like passing. It feels like staying, like a long breath that never fully ends. The street remains alive, but softly so. Every sound is gentle, every motion is smooth, and as midday draws closer, the world does not grow louder, it grows quieter. The sun now sits near its highest point, The warmth rests evenly across everything. Shadows are small and close. The street feels settled, balanced between movement and rest. Nothing pulls too far in either direction. It simply remains, calm, steady, unchanged. And the quiet day in the streets of Rome continues, slowly, into the stillness of midday.
Midday arrives without announcement. There is no clear shift, no sudden change, only a gentle settling, as if the whole street takes a quiet pause. The sun now rests high above the rooftops. Its light falls straight down, soft but steady. The warmth spreads evenly across the stone. It lingers on the walls, on the doorways, on the quiet paths between buildings. The shadows have drawn in close. They sit just beneath ledges, tucked beside steps, resting in small, cool spaces. The street feels slower now, not empty, but softer, quieter. Many people have stepped back inside their homes. Wooden doors are partly closed. Shutters are lowered just enough to keep out the brighter light. Inside, the air is cooler, still. The sounds from within are faint, the gentle movement of dishes, the quiet shifting of someone resting, the low murmur of voices that do not carry far. Outside, the street holds fewer footsteps. Those who walk now do so slowly, carefully, as if there is no reason to hurry through the warmth. A man passes, carrying nothing in his hands. His pace is relaxed. His eyes rest softly ahead, unfocused. He walks not toward urgency, but simply forward. A short distance away, a woman sits in the shade beside her doorway. Her back rests lightly against the wall. Her hands lie still in her lap. She is not working now, not moving, just resting. The quiet wraps around her gently. Near the fountain, the steady flow of water continues, unchanged. The sound feels more noticeable now. With fewer voices and fewer steps, it becomes the center of the street's rhythm. Water falling, water gathering, water moving on. A young boy approaches slowly. He kneels beside the basin, dips his hand into the water. The surface ripples outward. He watches the movement, not for long, just for a moment. Then he stands and walks away again. No one calls after him. No one needs to. The stillness remains. Further along the street, a cart stands unmoving. It has been left where it rests, its wooden frame warmed by the sun, its wheels still. The cloth that covers part of it shifts slightly with a faint breeze, then becomes still again. A dog lies nearby in the shade. Its body barely moves, its breathing slow and even. It does not open its eyes. The world around it continues quietly. It does not need to watch. Above, the sky stretches wide and pale. The light feels full, but gentle. There are no sharp edges to it, no harshness, just a steady presence. A bird crosses slowly overhead. Its shadow passes briefly along the ground, then disappears. Even this small movement feels soft. Nothing breaks the calm. Across the street, the small shop remains open, but no one stands inside. The shopkeeper sits just within the shade. He leans slightly against the wall. His hands rest loosely. His eyes are half closed. He is not asleep, just still. The items on display remain untouched. Clay lamps, folded cloth, simple tools. They wait quietly, as if they too understand the stillness of midday. A faint sound comes from inside a nearby home, the gentle pouring of water into a bowl, then silence again. The street holds these small sounds carefully.
They appear, then fade, leaving the quiet unchanged. A man steps out from a doorway. He pauses, feeling the warmth of the sun. He lifts a hand to shield his eyes for a moment, then lowers it. He does not go far, just a few steps. Then he sits on a low stone edge, resting, not thinking of movement, not thinking of time, just being still. The warmth encourages rest, encourages slowing down, encourages quiet. The breeze returns, very lightly. It moves through the narrow space between the buildings. It carries a soft scent of warm stone and distant herbs. It passes quickly, then leaves the air still again. A piece of cloth hanging from a window stirs slightly, then settles. Everything returns to stillness. The fountain continues, unchanged, endless. A woman approaches it slowly. She carries a small cup. She fills it, drinks, and stands for a moment beside the basin, listening, perhaps to the water, perhaps to nothing at all. Then she leaves. Her steps fade into the quiet. Time moves gently through the street, but it does not feel like passing time. It feels like resting time, a pause that stretches softly, a calm moment that holds everything in place. The older man from before now sits again further down the street. He has found another place in the shade. His posture is relaxed, his eyes closed, his breathing slow. He does not seem to notice anything around him, yet he is part of it, part of the same still moment. A small insect moves across the surface of a stone. Its path is slow and uncertain. It pauses often, then continues. Even this small movement feels quiet, unimportant, yet present. The street does not demand attention. It does not ask to be watched. It simply exists, calm, steady, unchanging. From time to time, a single footstep passes through, a quiet reminder that life continues. But each step is soft, each movement gentle. Nothing lingers for long. The sun remains high, the warmth steady, the shadows small. Everything feels balanced. Nothing too bright, nothing too dark, just a calm middle, a peaceful center of the day. As midday settles fully, the street becomes almost silent, not empty, but deeply quiet, the kind of quiet that feels full, full of presence, full of stillness, full of gentle life. And in this quiet, the city of Rome rests, just for a while.
The stillness of midday lingers for a while. It does not end suddenly. It begins to soften, little by little. The sun remains high, but its warmth feels different now. Not weaker, just calmer, as if the day has settled into itself. The quiet street begins to change again, very gently. A door opens somewhere down the road. The sound is soft, almost careful. A man steps out. He pauses, just as others did earlier in the morning, feeling the air, noticing the light. There is no urgency in him, only a quiet awareness of the day continuing. He steps forward slowly. His sandals press lightly against the warm stone. Each step blends into the stillness. Soon after, another door opens, then another. The street begins to breathe again, not quickly, but steadily. From inside the homes, faint sounds return. The movement of clay bowls, the shifting of fabric, the low murmur of voices beginning again after rest. Outside, a woman carries a small basket. It is lighter than before, perhaps empty, perhaps only holding a few small things. She walks at an even pace, her shadow close beside her. The shadows are still short, but they have begun to stretch just slightly.
It is a small change, easy to miss, yet it is there. The fountain continues its endless rhythm. Now, once again, more people come to it, one at a time. A man washes his face, letting the water run slowly down. He closes his eyes for a moment, then steps away. Another takes his place. No one waits long, no one rushes forward. The balance remains. Across the street, the shopkeeper stands again. He adjusts the position of a clay lamp, moves a folded cloth slightly closer to the edge, then steps back. He looks out at the street, not expecting anything, just watching. A visitor approaches after a long quiet. The man pauses at the entrance, looks over the items slowly, touches nothing at first, just observes. Then, gently, he lifts a small object, examines it, sets it down, and after a moment, he leaves. No purchase, no conversation, only a quiet passing. The shopkeeper does not react. He simply returns to stillness. A cart begins to move again further down the street. It had been resting in the warmth. Now, slowly, it is guided forward. The wheels roll with a soft sound, slightly louder than before, not because of force, but because the silence has lifted just a little. The man guiding it moves steadily. His steps match the rhythm of the wheels. Together, they pass through the street like a slow, quiet echo. A dog rises from its resting place. It stretches slowly, its body lengthening, then relaxing again. It takes a few steps forward, stops, looks around, then continues down the street at an easy pace. There is no destination, only movement. The air shifts slightly. A breeze returns, gentle. It carries the faint scent of food being prepared again. Something warm, something simple. The day is beginning its second quiet rhythm. A child appears at a doorway. He steps outside slowly, looks left, then right. The street feels different now than before, still calm, but awake again. He walks a few steps forward, then sits on the edge of a stone. His hands rest beside him. He watches, not searching for anything, just observing the small movements of the world. Nearby, a woman hangs a piece of cloth over a line stretched between 2 points. The fabric falls gently into place. It moves slightly with the breeze, then settles. She smooths it once with her hands, then steps back inside. The cloth remains, a soft presence in the afternoon light. The sun begins to lower, though very slowly. The change is almost invisible, but the light softens just a little. The shadows respond, stretching just slightly longer than before. A man walks past carrying a bundle of herbs. The leaves are pale green, tied together loosely. As he walks, a faint scent follows him, earthy, fresh. It drifts for a moment in the air, then fades. The street grows a little more active, but never loud, never crowded. Each person moves in their own quiet way. Some walk, some pause, some sit, all part of the same calm rhythm. The older man is seen again, now standing. He takes a few steps, then a few more. His pace remains unchanged, slow, steady. He passes by others, unnoticed, yet fully present. A woman approaches the fountain. She fills a larger vessel this time. It takes longer. The water flows steadily. She waits, patient. When it is full, she lifts it carefully, balances it against her side, and walks away. Her steps are measured, even. The sound of water within the vessel moves gently with her, a quiet sloshing, soft and contained. Further along, A doorway remains open. Inside, shadows shift slightly. A figure moves across the space. The movement is slow, almost blending into the darkness. Then stillness returns. The street holds these moments gently. Nothing lingers too long, nothing disappears too quickly. Everything exists just long enough to be felt and then fades. The breeze passes once more, light, warm. It touches the surfaces of the street, the walls, the cloth, the skin of those who walk through it. Then it moves on. The fountain continues. The footsteps return. The quiet voices rise slightly, and the stillness of midday slowly becomes the calm movement of afternoon. The day has not changed its nature. It remains gentle, steady, soft in every way, but the pause has passed, and the quiet rhythm continues into the long, peaceful hours ahead.
The afternoon begins without notice. It does not arrive as something new. It simply grows out of what was already there. The light shifts slowly. It becomes softer, a little warmer in color. The sun moves almost unseen across the wide sky above the rooftops. Its warmth is still present, but it feels calmer now, less direct, more spread out. The stones of the street hold the heat they gathered earlier. When touched, they feel warm, but not heavy, just steady, just present. The shadows stretch a little longer now. They reach out gently from the base of walls and steps. They do not rush across the street. They move quietly, inch by inch. The street itself begins to feel more active again. Not busy, never busy, but gently filled with movement. A man walks slowly, carrying a small bundle wrapped in cloth. He holds it loosely in one hand. It does not seem heavy. It moves slightly as he walks. He passes by a doorway where a woman stands. She leans lightly against the frame, watching the street. Her posture is relaxed. Her hands rest softly at her sides. She does not speak. She simply observes. The man passes. She remains. A short distance away, a group of children gathers again. They sit close to the ground. One draws lines in the dust once more. Another watches. A third adds a small mark, then pulls their hand back. There is no urgency in their play, no loud voices, only quiet movement, soft attention. The marks they create are simple. They do not last long, but they do not need to. Nearby, a cart moves slowly down the street. The wooden wheels turn with a low, steady sound. Inside the cart are woven baskets. They are empty, or perhaps lightly filled. It is hard to tell. The man guiding the cart walks beside it. His steps are even. His eyes rest gently ahead. He does not look around much. The path is familiar. He follows it without thought. As he passes, the sound of the wheels fades slowly behind him, leaving the street quiet once more. At the fountain, the steady flow of water continues. Now more people return to it. A woman stands beside the basin, filling a small jar. She holds it carefully. When it is full, she pauses, looking down into the water, watching the gentle ripples. Then she lifts the jar and turns away. Another takes her place. The movement continues, simple, unbroken. The breeze returns again, a little more often now. It moves through the narrow spaces between buildings. It carries the scent of warm stone and something faintly sweet, perhaps fruit, perhaps something cooking slowly in a nearby home. The smell does not stay long. It passes quietly. A piece of cloth hanging above the street shifts gently. It moves once, twice, then becomes still. The air settles again.
The small shop has begun to see more visitors once more. One person steps inside, then leaves, then another arrives after a quiet pause. The shopkeeper stands calmly. His movements are slow. He adjusts items without thinking. He has done this many times before. Each motion feels familiar. A man lifts a clay cup from the display. He turns it in his hands, feels its shape, its weight. He places it back, then selects another. After a moment, he makes a quiet exchange. Coins pass. A nod is shared. He leaves. The shop returns to stillness again. Across the street, the older man now walks once more. His steps are slow but steady, unchanged from before. He moves through the afternoon light without drawing attention, yet he belongs to the scene just as much as the stone beneath him. A dog wanders past him, its head low, its pace relaxed. It pauses briefly to sniff the ground, then continues on. No one calls it, no one notices much. It is simply there, part of the quiet life of the street. Further along, a doorway stands open. Inside, a woman arranges small items on a table. A bowl, a cloth, a simple tool. Her hands move slowly, carefully placing each thing where it belongs. The light from outside falls gently across the floor. She works within it, then steps back. The scene remains still, even in motion. The afternoon light continues to soften. The colors of the street feel warmer now. The pale stone holds a faint golden tone. The shadows stretch a little further. They reach out toward the center of the road, but they do not meet yet. There is still space between them. A man sits on a low step, resting. His hands rest on his knees. His head tilts slightly downward, not in sleep, just in quiet thought, or perhaps in no thought at all. He remains there for a long moment, then slowly stands and walks on. A woman passes carrying a small bundle of herbs. The leaves brush lightly against each other as she moves, a faint sound, soft and dry. It fades quickly. Behind her, the air returns to stillness. At the far end of the street, a figure moves slowly into view, step by step, unhurried, as all things are here. The sound of distant movement carries faintly. Another cart, another set of footsteps. Nothing sharp, nothing sudden, only the continuation of the day. The fountain continues, always the same. Water falling, water gathering, water moving on. The rhythm never changes. It holds the street together in its quiet way. The breeze passes again, softer now, warmer. It touches everything lightly, then disappears. The street does not hold on to it. It simply lets it pass. Time moves forward, but gently, without weight, without pressure. The afternoon settles in deeper. The calm remains, unbroken, steady, endless in its softness. The day continues, not toward an end, but toward another quiet change. The light will shift again. The shadows will grow longer. But for now, the street rests in this gentle afternoon, calm, warm, unhurried, and completely at peace. The afternoon slowly deepens. There is no sudden sign of it, only a quiet change in the light. The sun begins its gentle descent, though it still sits well above the rooftops. Its glow softens. The brightness eases into something warmer, more golden. The stone street reflects this change. What was once pale now holds a faint, warm tone. Soft gold rests along the ground, touching the edges of walls and doorways. The shadows grow longer. They stretch slowly across the street, reaching further than before. They move without effort, without sound. A man walks through one of these long shadows. For a moment, his figure becomes darker against the light. Then he steps back into the sun again. The change is gentle, barely noticed. The street continues its quiet rhythm. People move as they have all day, slowly, steadily. A woman carries a small basket filled with fruit. The colors are soft, muted reds and pale yellows. She holds the basket close to her side. Her steps are even. She passes a doorway where another woman stands. They exchange a brief glance, a small nod, then continue. No words are needed. Nearby, the children still sit along the ground. Their earlier drawings have faded. They begin again. New lines, new shapes. The dust receives them quietly. Then, over time, we'll let them go. A cart moves along the street. Its wheels turn with the same steady rhythm as before, but now the sound feels slightly different. The longer shadows soften it. The warmer air carries it more gently. Inside the cart are a few simple goods: cloth, loosely folded, a small bundle of rope. Nothing heavy, nothing urgent. The man guiding it walks beside it with the same calm pace. He pauses briefly to adjust the cloth, then continues. Further along, the small shop remains open. The shopkeeper stands just inside the shade. The light now reaches deeper into the stall. It touches the clay items, giving them a soft glow. A visitor steps in. He looks around slowly. His eyes move from one object to another. He lifts a small tool, examines it, turns it in his hand, then sets it down. After a moment, he selects a different item. A quiet exchange follows. Coins pass. A nod is shared, and he leaves. The shop returns to stillness again. The fountain continues its steady flow. The sound remains unchanged. But now, in the late afternoon light, it feels softer, almost distant, even though it is close. A woman stands beside it, filling a larger vessel. The water catches the golden light as it pours. Small ripples move across the surface. She waits patiently, then lifts the vessel, holds it steady, and walks away. The movement is smooth, careful. The air feels different now, cooler, just slightly. The warmth of midday begins to fade. In its place comes a gentle balance, neither warm nor cool, just calm. A breeze passes through the street again. This time it lingers a little longer. It carries the scent of evening preparation, faint smoke, cooked grain, something slow and steady. The smell does not overwhelm. It drifts, then disappears. A piece of cloth hanging from above moves gently. It catches the light, glows softly for a moment, then settles again. Across the street, the older man walks once more, his pace unchanged, his steps steady. He moves through the lengthening shadows, through the soft light, without pause, without hurry. He seems to follow no destination, only the quiet path of the day itself. A dog lies once again in a patch of shade, but this time the shade is longer. It stretches further along the ground. The dog rests within it, still and calm, its breathing slow, its body relaxed. It opens one eye briefly, then closes it again. The world continues around it, soft and distant. Further down, a doorway stands open. Inside, a small flame flickers faintly, a cooking fire just beginning to grow. The light from it moves gently against the walls. It does not compete with the sunlight. It simply exists beside it. A man sits outside on a low stone step. He holds a small cup. He lifts it slowly, drinks, then rests his hands again. He watches the street, the movement, the light, the quiet. Nothing changes quickly. Everything remains soft. A group of people passes slowly together. They walk close, but not crowded. Their voices are low, almost like the sound of the breeze. It is not possible to hear their words, only the presence of sound. Then they pass, and the quiet returns. The shadows now reach further across the street. In some places, they begin to meet. Light and shadow blend together. Soft edges, no sharp lines. The sun lowers a little more, still high enough to fill the street, but no longer overhead. The angle of light shifts. It touches the walls differently now, sliding across surfaces instead of falling straight down. The change is slow, continuous, almost like a breath. The fountain continues, always steady, always the same. A man pauses beside it. He does not take water. He simply stands, listening, perhaps to the sound, perhaps to the quiet around it. Then he moves on. The street feels full again, but never busy. Always calm, always steady. Each moment flows into the next, without pause, without effort. The late afternoon stretches gently onward. The light continues to soften. The shadows continue to grow. And the quiet day in the streets of Rome moves slowly toward evening. Nothing rushes. Nothing demands. Everything remains exactly as it needs to be. Soft, steady, peaceful.
The day begins to lean gently toward evening. There is no clear line where afternoon ends, only a soft change in the light and a deepening calm in the air. The sun lowers a little more. Its glow becomes warmer, softer, almost golden. It stretches across the street at a gentle angle, touching the walls with long, quiet beams of light. The stones beneath your feet no longer feel warm in the same way. They hold a fading heat, a memory of the day. The shadows now reach far across the road. They stretch from one side to the other, slowly joining together. Light and shade begin to blend. Nothing is sharp. Everything feels softened. The street continues its steady rhythm, but now there is a slight slowing, a gentle easing of movement. A man walks by carrying a bundle of cloth. His steps are slower than before, not because of effort, but because the day itself feels slower. He passes through a long shadow, then into the soft golden light, then back again, each step quiet, each movement smooth.
Nearby, a woman stands just outside her doorway. She looks down the street for a moment. Her hands rest loosely at her sides. She takes a small breath, then turns back inside. The door remains slightly open. Light from within blends softly with the fading light outside. At the fountain, the steady flow of water continues, but fewer people come now. The space around it feels wider, more open. A man approaches slowly. He fills a small cup, drinks, then lingers for a moment, listening. The sound of water feels deeper now, more present in the quiet. Then he leaves. The fountain remains, unchanged. A cart passes through the street. Its wheels move slowly over the stone. The sound is softer than before. The evening air seems to hold it gently. The man guiding it walks beside it, his posture relaxed, his pace unhurried. He does not look around. He simply moves forward. The cart follows, then fades into the distance. Children who once played in the dust begin to drift away, one by one. No sudden endings, no final call. They simply stand, brush the dust from their hands, and walk back toward their homes. The marks they made in the ground remain for a while, then soften slowly under passing steps. The street becomes quieter, not empty, but quieter. The sounds spread out. Footsteps come less often. Voices grow softer, more distant. A dog rises from its place of rest. It stretches slowly, then walks across the street. Its path is calm, its movement steady. It pauses once, looks down the length of the road, then continues on. The air feels cooler now, just slightly, a gentle shift from the warmth of the day. The breeze returns more often. It moves softly between the buildings. It carries the scent of evening meals, warm grains, cooking herbs, faint smoke rising from small fires. A smell is comforting. It settles gently, then drifts away. From inside the homes, more sounds begin to appear. The quiet preparation of food, the placing of bowls, the movement of hands working slowly. Nothing loud, nothing sharp, only soft, steady motion. A man sits on a low step outside his doorway. He rests his hands on his knees. His head tilts slightly downward. He watches the street without focus, just noticing, just being present. After a moment, he leans back against the wall, relaxing into the coolness of the stone. Across from him, a doorway glows softly from within. A small flame flickers. Its light moves gently along the walls. The outside light fades slowly. The inside light grows just a little stronger. The two meet quietly at the threshold. A woman walks past carrying a clay vessel. She holds it carefully with both hands. The vessel is full. It moves slightly with each step. She walks slowly, carefully, then disappears into a nearby doorway. The street continues to settle. The pace slows even more. Each movement feels stretched out, unhurried, unnecessary to rush. The older man appears again, walking through the fading light. His steps remain steady, unchanged. He moves through the long shadows, through the soft glow of the evening sun, without pause, without sound. He reaches a doorway, stops, then slowly steps inside. The door remains open for a moment, then closes gently, and he is no longer seen. The fountain continues, always the same. Water falling, water gathering, water moving on. Now its sound feels clearer, more defined in the quiet. A bird crosses the sky above. Its wings move slowly. The sky itself begins to change. The pale blue softens. A faint hint of warmer tones appears near the horizon. The sun lowers further. Its light becomes softer still, almost dim, but still warm, still gentle. A piece of cloth hanging above the street moves lightly in the breeze. It catches the last golden light, glows softly, then settles again. The street feels calm, deeply calm, as if the whole day is slowly coming to rest. Nothing ends suddenly. Everything fades, step by step, moment by moment. A final cart passes quietly. A few more footsteps echo softly, then fade into the distance. The shadows grow longer still. The light grows softer, and the quiet day in the streets of Rome moves gently toward night. Nothing needs to be said. Nothing needs to be done. The day simply settles, softly, slowly, completely at peace.
The evening deepens slowly. It does not arrive all at once. It settles, like dust drifting gently onto stone. A light from the sun is now low. It rests near the edge of the sky, soft and fading. The golden tones of the day begin to stretch thin. They no longer fill the street. Instead, they linger in patches, on walls, on door frames, on the tops of quiet rooftops. The shadows grow longer again. This time they are not just present, they are dominant. They move across the street in wide, slow shapes, covering more ground with each passing moment. The air feels different now, cooler, softer, more still. The street, once gently active in the afternoon, now begins to quiet again. Not abruptly, but in a natural retreat. A man walks slowly down the road, carrying a small bundle wrapped in cloth. His steps are careful, even. He passes through a long shadow that stretches from one side of the street to the other. For a moment, he disappears into it, then emerges again into the fading light. Nearby, a woman closes a wooden shutter. It moves with a soft, familiar sound, not loud, just final. She pauses for a moment with her hand still on the wood, then turns away and disappears inside. The shutter remains closed. A few more doors begin to close across the street, one by one. Each sound is quiet, each movement unhurried. The fountain still flows, but now it feels more central, more noticeable, as if the rest of the world has stepped back slightly, leaving its sound behind. A man stands beside it. He fills a clay cup, drinks slowly. The water reflects the last remaining light of the sky. Then he sets the cup down and walks away. The space around the fountain grows empty again. The street is less filled now. Fewer footsteps, fewer voices, more silence between each moment. A dog walks slowly across the street. Its movement is calm, unbothered. It pauses near a doorway where faint light spills from inside. It looks in briefly, then continues on. The light inside is warmer now than the light outside. Soft orange tones flicker gently against interior walls. Cooking fires have grown more steady inside the homes. Meals are being prepared in quiet rhythm. The sound of clay bowls being placed, the soft stirring of food, the movement of hands working without hurry. Outside, the breeze returns again. It is cooler now. It carries the scent of evening food more clearly. Warm bread, cooked grains, a faint hint of smoke rising from small fires. The scent drifts through the street, then fades. A man sits on a step outside his home. He holds a cup in both hands.
He does not drink immediately. He simply sits, watching the street grow quieter. Then he takes a slow sip and lowers the cup again. The light continues to fade, not quickly, but steadily. The sun now touches the very edge of the horizon. Its glow stretches thin across the sky, long and soft. The colors deepen slightly, warm gold turning into pale amber, then into softer tones. The street begins to feel more enclosed. The shadows stretch further. They cover more of the ground, leaving only narrow strips of light between them. A cart passes for the last time in this part of the evening. Its wheels move slowly, almost carefully. The man guiding it does not hurry. He knows the day is nearly complete. The cart disappears down the street, leaving silence behind it. A woman steps out briefly, holding a folded cloth. She looks up at the sky, then folds the cloth tighter and returns inside. The shutter closes softly. More windows glow now. Small points of warm light appear across the street, each one contained, each one steady. Inside, life continues, but outside, stillness grows. The older man appears once more. He walks slowly, as he always has. His figure moves through the dimming light, between shadow and fading sun. He does not pause. He does not change his pace. He passes by doorways now softly lit from within, then continues onward until he fades into the deeper part of the street and is no longer seen. The fountain remains, its sound now clearer than ever. In the quiet, it feels almost like breathing, water falling, water gathering, water continuing. Above, the sky shifts again. The sun is nearly gone now. Only a thin line of light remains at the horizon. The first hint of evening blue deepens above it. The day is almost finished, but not yet. There is still a soft in-between moment, a pause between light and night. The street holds this moment gently, as if it understands the change and does not resist it. A final breeze moves through. It is cooler now. It passes through the narrow spaces between buildings, touches the hanging cloths, the wooden shutters, the stone ground that still holds a trace of warmth. Then it fades away. The street becomes quieter still. Each sound now stands on its own. A distant footstep, a closing door, a faint voice inside a home, then silence again. The day has not ended, but it has nearly let go. Everything slows, everything softens, everything prepares for night. And in this gentle fading light, the streets of Rome remain still, waiting quietly for darkness to arrive.
Night does not come quickly. It arrives the way most things arrive in this city, slowly, quietly, without effort. The last light of the sun is now gone. What remains is a soft afterglow along the horizon, fading by the moment. Above it, the sky deepens into a calm, dark blue, not yet fully black, still holding a memory of the day. The street is now mostly shadow. The shapes of buildings are still visible, but softened. Edges blur gently into the dimness. The stone beneath feels cooler now. It no longer holds the heat of the sun. Instead, it carries the calm of evening air. Inside the homes, more light appears. Warm, small flames begin to glow behind shuttered windows and open doorways. The light flickers softly. It does not reach far, only enough to fill each small space with comfort. Outside, the fountain continues its steady sound. It feels stronger now in the quiet. Each drop of water is more noticeable, each ripple more distinct. A man stands beside it for a long moment. He does not speak. He does not move. He simply listens. Then, slowly, he bends down, fills a small vessel, and walks away into the dim street. His figure fades gently into the shadows. One by one, the remaining doors along the street close, not in haste, not in silence alone, but in a calm finality, a soft closing to the day. A woman pulls a wooden shutter across her window. The sound is low and familiar. It clicks softly into place. She pauses for a moment behind it, then turns away. Inside, the glow of a small fire continues. Outside, that glow becomes part of the street's memory. A dog moves quietly along the edge of the road. It pauses beneath a doorway where light spills out. It looks in briefly, then continues on. Its footsteps are almost silent on the stone. The street now feels emptier, not abandoned, just resting. A few figures still move through it, slowly, carefully. A man carrying a bundle, a woman walking with a small basket, each of them passing through the same shared quiet. The breeze returns one last time before fully settling. It is cooler now. It carries the scent of smoke rising from cooking fires, the scent of warm food inside homes. It moves through the street gently, then fades. Above, the sky has deepened further. The last trace of blue is now nearly gone. Darkness spreads evenly across the sky. Not heavy, not sharp, just complete. A faint light appears in the distance, small points glowing from windows and doorways, each one steady, each one warm. They do not compete with the darkness, they exist within it. The older man appears once more in the dim light. He walks slowly, as always. His figure is now harder to see. Only the outline of movement remains clear. He passes beneath one of the glowing windows. For a brief moment, his shape is softly illuminated. Then he moves beyond it and fades again into shadow. The fountain continues to flow. Now it is almost the only constant sound in the street. Water falling into stone. Water continuing its endless rhythm. A woman stands near it for a final time. She fills a small cup, holds it close, then turns away without hesitation. The space around the fountain grows still, empty, quiet. The street is now mostly at rest. No carts pass, no groups gather, only the occasional step, only the faint movement of someone moving between home and doorway. Inside, life continues in softer tones. Meals are eaten slowly, voices are low, firelight flickers gently against clay walls and wooden beams. Outside, darkness becomes fuller. The shapes of buildings are now silhouettes. The street is no longer defined by detail, only by outline and glow. The sky above is fully dark now, a deep, calm black blue. No stars are strongly visible yet, only a quiet vastness. The city feels enclosed in its own stillness. A final figure crosses the street, slow, unhurried, then disappears into a doorway. The door closes softly behind them and does not open again. The fountain continues, but even it feels quieter now, less like sound, more like presence, a steady reminder that the night is here and the day has fully passed. Everything now rests. The movement has faded. The light has gone. Only warmth remains, and the gentle breath of the city settling into night. The streets of Rome are now still, not empty, but at peace, held softly in darkness and in quiet light from within.
Night settles fully now, not as something that arrives, but as something that gently remains. The city is no longer shaped by sunlight. It is shaped by small, quiet lights, warm glows from inside homes, soft flickers behind shutters, low flames that move slowly, like breathing.
The streets outside are dark, not empty, but deeply still. The stone ground is cool now. It holds no memory of heat, only the calm of night air resting upon it. The fountain continues its quiet rhythm, water falling into stone, water continuing without pause. In the silence, it feels closer, more present, a sound that does not disturb the night, but belongs to it. A single figure moves through the street, slowly, carefully. Their shape is soft and unclear in the darkness. They pass beneath a faint glow from a doorway. For a moment, their outline becomes visible. Then they step beyond it and disappear again. The door behind them closes gently. The sound is small, final. Inside the homes, life continues in hushed tones. A bowl is placed on a table. A cloth is folded and set aside. A cup is lifted and then lowered. Every movement feels smaller now, more contained. The warmth inside contrasts with the coolness outside, but neither feels distant. They exist together, side by side, separated only by wood and stone. Outside, the street breathes slowly, not with movement, but with stillness. The night air is calm, almost heavy in its quiet. A soft breeze passes once. It carries nothing now. No scent of cooking, no dust of the day, only cool air moving through narrow spaces. Then it fades. Above, the sky is fully dark. A deep, endless black blue stretches over the city. The rooftops disappear into it. The walls become silhouettes. Only the faintest outlines remain. A few distant lights from windows shimmer gently. Small points of warmth scattered through the darkness. They do not move. They simply exist, like quiet thoughts in a sleeping world. The fountain continues its steady rhythm. It is now the clearest presence in the street. Each drop of water is distinct, each ripple soft and endless. A man stands beside it for a long moment. He does not draw water this time. He simply listens to the sound, to the night, to the stillness around him. Then, slowly, he turns away and disappears into shadow. The street grows quieter still. There are no carts now, no groups, no voices in the open air, only the occasional faint movement behind doors. A shutter shifts slightly in its frame. A cloth moves gently in a window's draft. Then stillness again. A dog lies curled in a sheltered corner, its body still, its breathing slow. It does not move when footsteps pass far away. It remains resting, part of the night's quiet fabric. Inside a nearby home, a small flame flickers low. It casts soft light across a wall. Shadows move gently with it. A person sits nearby, still, quiet, perhaps thinking, perhaps simply resting in silence. There is no urgency in anything now. Time itself feels slowed, widened, like a long pause that holds everything gently in place. The older man is no longer seen, but his presence feels as if it remains somewhere in the quiet street. Not moving, not gone, just part of the stillness. The fountain continues, always the same. Water falling, water gathering, water continuing. Even in deep night, it does not stop. The city is now fully at rest on the outside, yet inside, faint life continues. Soft light, soft movement, soft breath. Everything is smaller now, quieter, more contained. The darkness does not feel empty, it feels complete, like a blanket laid gently over stone and wood and sleeping streets. A final stillness spreads through everything. Even sound feels distant now. Even thought feels slow. The night holds the city without effort, without weight, just presence. And in this deep, quiet hour, ancient Rome rests fully, not asleep alone, but calm, whole, and gently still. The night continues, without change, without interruption, and everything remains in quiet balance beneath the dark sky.
The night deepens even further. It does not change quickly. It simply grows quieter and quieter still. The city of Rome now feels almost suspended in time. Not silent in a harsh way, but silent in a soft, complete way. The kind of silence that rests on everything equally. The streets are fully dark now. Only faint outlines of buildings remain. Walls become shapes rather than details. Doorways become shadows within shadows. The fountain continues to flow. It is the only sound that feels fully alive. Water falling, water gathering, water continuing without end. Each drop is clear in the stillness. Each ripple spreads gently into darkness and disappears. A single lantern glows in the distance. Its light is small, steady, unmoving. It does not try to brighten the street. It simply exists within it. A man passes briefly through the edge of that light. His figure appears for a moment, then dissolves again into shadow. His footsteps are soft, almost lost to the night. Inside the homes, the world has grown even quieter. Most movements have stopped. Only the smallest sounds remain. A cloth being adjusted, a bowl set down carefully, a slow breath in a resting room. Firelight flickers behind closed shutters. It paints soft shapes on the walls. Then those shapes fade again as the flame settles. Outside, the air is still. No wind moves now. No breeze passes through the narrow streets. Everything feels held in place. A dog shifts slightly in its sleep, then becomes still again. A small motion, then silence. The street does not react. It simply continues resting. Above, the sky is fully dark. There are no clear stars visible in this moment. Only a vast, deep darkness stretching endlessly overhead. It feels wide, but not distant, as if it leans gently over the city, holding it in quiet balance. The fountain remains constant. Its sound now feels even softer, less like water falling, more like a steady memory of motion. A man stands beside it again, perhaps the same man, perhaps another. It no longer matters. He does not draw water. He does not speak. He simply stands there for a long moment, then turns away slowly and vanishes into the dark street. The stone beneath him remains unchanged, cool, still, empty. A shutter moves slightly in a far window, a soft wooden sound, then stillness again. The city responds to nothing. It only rests. Time feels stretched in this hour, not moving forward in clear steps, but flowing gently, without direction. A quiet continuity. A woman sits near a low flame inside her home. The light is small. It moves softly across her hands. She does not speak. She does not move much, only sits, listening to the quiet inside and outside. The boundary between them feels thin, almost gone. Outside, the fountain continues. Inside, firelight continues, both steady, both calm, both part of the same night. The street itself feels like it is breathing slowly, not with sound, but with presence, a long, quiet inhale and exhale that never fully ends. No footsteps echo now, no carts return, no voices carry across the open air, only stillness, deep and complete. The older man is not seen again, but the memory of his steady walking feels as if it remains in the street itself, as if the night has absorbed all movement into its calm. The city is no longer active, but it is not lifeless. It is resting, fully, completely, like something that trusts the night enough to let go. The fountain continues its endless flow, marking time in a place where time feels still. And in this deepest hour of night, Rome rests without effort, without interruption, without end. Everything is quiet, everything is still, and the night holds the city gently until morning will return.
The night begins to soften, though it is still dark. This is not yet morning, not yet even a promise of it, but something subtle has changed in the air. The deepest part of night feels slightly different now, less heavy, more open. The sky remains dark above the city, but it no longer feels endless in the same way. There is a quiet sense of waiting, not for anything urgent, just the natural turning of time. The streets are still almost entirely silent. Stone paths lie cool beneath the night air. They hold no movement, only rest. The fountain continues its steady flow. Even now, in this quietest hour, it does not stop. Water falling, water gathering, water continuing. It feels like the last living rhythm of the street, a soft, constant presence in the dark. A single lantern flickers in a distant corner of the city. Its light is small and steady. It does not grow, it does not fade, it simply remains. Nearby, a shutter shifts slightly in its frame. A faint wooden sound, then stillness again. Inside the homes, firelight is now lower. The flames have settled into small glowing embers. They cast softer light than before, more orange than gold, more glow than flame. A woman sits beside one such fire. Her head is slightly bowed. Her hands rest still in her lap. She does not move for a long time. The quiet around her is complete. Outside, a dog sleeps deeply in its sheltered place. Its body is curled, its breathing slow and steady. It does not stir. Even the faintest sounds do not reach it now. The city holds it gently in rest. The sky above is still dark, but if one were to look closely, there is a subtle change near the horizon. Not light yet, not color, only a slight easing of darkness, a thin softness at the edge of the sky, almost unnoticeable, but present. The fountain continues, always the same, water falling into stone. The sound is now so familiar that it feels less like noise and more like silence with texture. A man appears briefly at the edge of the street. He pauses, does not step forward. He listens, perhaps to the water, perhaps to the night itself, then slowly turns away and disappears again. No one follows him, no one calls. The street does not react, it simply remains still. Time moves gently in this hour, not forward in visible steps, but inward, like a deep breath held in calm. Inside another home, a small ember glows.
A hand moves slowly to adjust it. Then stillness returns. The light remains, soft, low, constant. The city feels fully asleep now, yet not empty. There is a presence in everything, in the walls, in the air, in the stone, a quiet awareness of rest. The fountain continues without change. It marks the passage of night as it always has, unmoving in its rhythm, unchanged by darkness or light. Above, the sky holds its deep black-blue stillness, but the faintest shift continues near the horizon, a suggestion of something coming, not yet visible, only felt. The night is beginning to loosen its hold, very slowly, very gently, but for now it remains, and everything beneath it continues to rest. A final stillness settles across the street, deeper than before, softer than before, as if the city has drifted into the quietest part of its sleep. The fountain flows, the embers glow, the shadows rest, and Rome waits quietly in the space between night and morning.
The night does not end suddenly. It loosens, quietly, almost without being noticed. The deep darkness above the city begins to soften at its edges, not yet into light, only into something less heavy, less absolute. The sky still holds its night color, but it is no longer as complete as before. A subtle change rests near the horizon, a thin, distant easing of darkness, the kind of change that would be easy to miss if the world were not so still. The streets remain quiet. Stone paths lie undisturbed. No footsteps echo. No carts pass. Only the soft presence of night continues to rest over everything. The fountain flows on, unchanged, constant. Water falling into water, water continuing without pause. In this hour, it feels almost like the heartbeat of the sleeping city. A faint lantern still glows in the distance. Its light is small and steady. It does not fight the darkness. It simply exists within it. A man stands near it for a moment. He does not move closer. He does not step away. He simply stands, then turns slowly and disappears into shadow. Inside the homes, the embers of fire are now low. They glow faintly, like small pieces of warm memory. Occasional flickers move across clay walls, soft and brief. Then stillness returns. A woman inside one home shifts slightly in her resting place. A slow movement, then quiet again. The city remains deeply asleep, but the night no longer feels as heavy as before. There is a softness growing in it, a quiet preparation, a turning that cannot be seen directly, only felt. Above the rooftops, the sky begins to change in a way that is almost invisible at first. The darkest part of night still holds the center of the sky, but near the horizon, a faint gray-blue begins to form, very pale, very thin, not light yet, only the suggestion of it. The fountain continues, always steady, always present. A dog in the street shifts in its sleep, a small movement of pause, then stillness again. No sound follows. The city does not react. It simply continues resting. A shutter moves slightly in the distance, a soft wooden sound, then silence. Inside another home, a hand reaches out to adjust a cloth near a dying ember. The light flickers once, then steadies again. The air feels cooler now than earlier in the night, not sharp, just gently cool, a calmness that belongs only to early hours before dawn. A single figure appears at the edge of the street, barely visible. They pause, looking down the quiet road. There is nothing to see, only shadow and stillness. They take a slow step forward, then another, and fade into the darkness again. The fountain remains the only constant movement. Its sound now feels almost like the passing of time itself, soft, endless, unbroken. Above, the faint gray at the horizon grows slightly more defined. Still not light, but no longer pure night. A space between, a quiet threshold forming. The city does not wake, but it begins to lean toward waking, very gently, very slowly. Inside the homes, the embers continue to glow. Some are nearly gone. Others still hold a small warmth. The difference between night and morning is now only a feeling, a subtle shift in the stillness. The street outside remains unchanged, no movement, no voices, only the fountain, only the breath of the sleeping city. And in this quiet hour before dawn, Rome waits, not for anything urgent, not for anything loud, but simply for the next soft turning of the world. The night is nearly complete, and the first breath of morning is beginning to form.
The change is still quiet, almost invisible, but it is there now. The night no longer feels complete. It feels thinner, as if something beyond it is gently pressing forward. The sky above the city begins to soften in a slow, patient way. The deep black blue does not vanish, it simply loosens. Near the horizon, a pale gray begins to spread, very faint, like mist resting far away. Not light yet, only the first suggestion that light may return. The rooftops of Rome remain dark silhouettes. The streets are still wrapped in shadow. But the darkness is no longer absolute. It carries softness now, depth without weight. The fountain continues its steady flow, water falling into stone, water continuing its endless rhythm. In this early hour, it feels even more central, as if the entire sleeping city is listening to it without knowing. A faint breeze moves once through the street. It is cool, clean. It passes between buildings without sound, then disappears again. Inside the homes, the embers of fire are very low now. Some have nearly gone out completely. Others still glow faintly, holding on to the last warmth of the night. A woman shifts in her resting place. Slow movement, then stillness again. The street outside remains unchanged. No footsteps, no voices, only quiet presence. A shutter in the distance shifts slightly, a soft wooden sound, then silence returns immediately. The city does not respond, it simply rests. But something in the air has changed. The stillness feels different now, less like sleep, more like waiting. A single figure appears briefly at the far end of the street. They are barely visible in the dimness. They stop, look upward, and then continue forward, slowly, without urgency. They disappear again into shadow. The fountain remains steady. Its sound now feels more delicate, almost fragile in the growing quiet. But it does not break. It continues, unchanged. Above, the pale gray at the horizon spreads a little further. Not brightening yet, just expanding, like a breath being drawn slowly into the world. The darkness above it remains strong, but it no longer feels unbroken. A transition is forming, soft, gradual, uncertain. Inside the homes, firelight is nearly gone. Only faint traces remain, small embers that flicker once in a while, then settle again. A hand moves gently in one home, adjusting a blanket. Then stillness returns. Outside, the street holds its silence, but it is no longer the silence of deep night. It is the silence before change, a quiet anticipation without expectation, a calm space between what was and what will be. A dog shifts slightly in its resting place. It does not wake, it simply resettles into sleep, then becomes still again. The fountain continues, always present, always steady. Time is no longer felt as passing, only as presence. Above, the sky grows a little lighter at the edge, still gray, still soft, but more defined than before. The first suggestion of morning is now undeniable, yet still gentle enough to remain almost unseen. The city does not stir, it does not awaken, it simply holds this moment, quietly, completely, as night slowly loosens its grip and morning begins to prepare itself without sound. The pale edge of dawn is now present over Rome, and everything waits in still, quiet balance.
The night is still here, but it no longer feels the same. It feels lighter now, not in brightness, but in presence, as if something distant is slowly opening its eyes. The sky above Rome is no longer fully dark. The deep night blue remains, but it has softened. Near the horizon, the pale gray has grown a little wider, a thin, quiet band of change stretching gently across the edge of the world. Still not morning, but no longer pure night. The fountain continues its steady sound, water falling into stone, water gathering, water continuing without interruption. In this hour, the sound feels even more delicate, as if the world is listening more closely now. The street remains still, but the stillness has shifted. It is no longer heavy, it is lighter, more open. Inside the homes, the last embers of fire glow faintly. Some have faded completely, others hold on with a weak, soft pulse of light. A woman turns slightly in her sleep, a slow movement beneath a blanket, then stillness again. The city remains quiet, but something in it is no longer fully asleep. A distant shudder moves slightly, a soft wooden sound, almost imagined. Then silence returns. Above, the pale gray at the horizon grows clearer. It does not brighten quickly. It spreads slowly, like ink dissolving into water. The boundary between night and morning begins to blur. The rooftops are still dark silhouettes, but their edges are now slightly more visible, a subtle outline returning to the world. A single figure appears far down the street, barely visible. They walk slowly, not toward anything urgent, just moving through the quiet transition of time. Their shape fades in and out of shadow, then disappears again. The fountain remains unchanged, always flowing, always steady. It feels like the only certainty in a world that is gently shifting. A faint breeze passes through the street. It is cooler than before, but softer. It does not linger. It passes once and is gone. Inside one home, a faint ember flickers, then steadies, then dims again. The light is nearly gone, but not entirely. A hand shifts a cloth slightly. Then stillness returns. Outside, the street is unchanged, yet everything feels different. The silence now holds expectation, not of noise, not of movement, but of return, a calm anticipation woven into the air itself. A dog shifts in its sleep, a small movement of its body. Then it settles again, unaware of the change above. The fountain continues. Its rhythm is constant, but now it feels closer to the coming day, as if it is guiding the night gently forward. Above, the pale gray at the horizon deepens, still soft, still quiet, but more present now. The darkness above it no longer feels complete. It begins to thin,
very slowly, very gently. The city does not wake, but it is no longer fully resting either. It exists in between, in the soft space where night is ending and morning has not yet fully begun. The stone streets remain cool, the buildings remain still, the air remains quiet, but everything feels slightly more open, as if the world has taken a slow breath inward before releasing it into dawn. And in this delicate balance, Rome waits, not asleep, not awake, but gently turning toward the light. The first signs of dawn are now quietly present, and the city holds itself in calm anticipation.
The world is still dark, but it is no longer the same darkness as before. It has changed in a way that is almost impossible to describe. It feels thinner now, more fragile, as if it could be gently lifted away at any moment. The sky above Rome holds this quiet transformation. The deep night still lingers in the upper sky, but along the horizon, the pale gray has widened again. It is no longer a narrow line. It is a soft band stretching across the edge of the world. Not bright, not glowing, just present. The fountain continues its steady rhythm, water falling, water gathering, water continuing without pause. In this hour, it feels like the only sound that fully belongs to both night and morning. The street remains still, no carts, no voices, no footsteps crossing open stone, only the quiet presence of the sleeping city. Inside the homes, the last embers of fire are almost gone. Some have faded completely into darkness. Others still hold a faint, dying warmth. A woman breathes slowly in her sleep, a small, natural rhythm, then stillness again. Above, the sky shifts slightly more. The gray at the horizon grows softer in tone. It is still not light, but it is no longer absence. It is becoming something, a transition without sound, a change without motion. The rooftops remain dark shapes, but their outlines are now clearer than before, edges slowly returning to the world. A single figure appears again at the far end of the street. They move slowly, carefully, as if walking through a space that is still deciding what it is. They pause for a moment, then continue, and fade again into the dimness. The fountain remains unchanged, its sound steady, unbroken, a reminder that even in stillness something continues. A faint breeze moves through the street. It is cooler now, almost crisp. It brushes against stone and wood and fades quickly. Inside one home, a final ember flickers once, then dims further, almost gone. A hand moves slightly in the darkness, then rests again. The street outside remains quiet, but it is no longer the deep quiet of night. It is a waiting quiet, a quiet filled with subtle expectation, not for anything loud, not for anything sudden, but for the gentle return of light. A dog shifts in its resting place. Its body moves once, then settles again, still asleep, unaware of the change unfolding above. The fountain continues, always steady, always present. Above, the pale gray at the horizon deepens once more. It spreads slowly across the edge of the sky, still soft, still gentle, but unmistakably growing. The darkness above it no longer feels absolute. It begins to open, very slightly, very quietly.
The city does not awaken, but it no longer feels fully asleep either. It exists in a fragile balance between shadow and light, between rest and return. The air is still, the stone is still, the world is still, and yet everything feels as if it is holding a breath, waiting for the moment just before dawn finally arrives. The fountain continues its endless rhythm, marking time in a world that feels suspended. And in this quiet threshold, Rome remains still on the edge of morning. The night is almost ready to release the city, and the dawn is just beginning to prepare its light.
The change is almost invisible at first, so subtle it could be mistaken for imagination. But slowly, unmistakably, the world begins to brighten. Not quickly, not suddenly, just enough to feel it. The sky above Rome, still mostly dark, now holds a clearer softness along the horizon. The pale gray that had been growing all night begins to deepen into something gentler, something with weight. A color that is no longer only night, but not yet morning. It rests in between, a quiet, uncertain shade that spreads slowly across the edge of the sky. The fountain continues its steady flow, water falling into stone, water gathering, water continuing without pause. In this moment, the sound feels almost sacred in its stillness, like a thread holding the night and morning together. The street remains quiet, but the quiet is changing. It is no longer heavy. It feels lighter now, more open, as if space itself has softened. Inside the homes, the last embers of fire are fading completely. Some glow only faintly now, like memories of warmth. Others are gone entirely. A woman stirs slightly in her sleep, her breathing slow. Then stillness returns. Above, the horizon brightens again. The gray begins to shift, very slowly, very gently. It is still dim, but no longer empty. A faint suggestion of light begins to gather just beneath the edge of the sky. Not yet sunrise, but the first preparation for it. The rooftops of Rome remain dark silhouettes, but their shapes are clearer now, edges more defined. The city is beginning to return to form. A figure appears once more at the far end of the street. They walk with the same slow, careful pace, but now their outline is slightly easier to see. Not fully visible, but present. They pause, look toward the horizon, then continue walking and fade again into the dim light. The fountain remains unchanged, constant, steady. A man stands beside it for a long moment. He does not move. He does not speak. He simply watches the water fall, then slowly turns away and disappears into the street. A faint breeze moves through the city. It is different now, not just cool, but carrying something new, a softness in the air that did not exist before, a hint of morning that has not yet fully arrived. Inside a home, a final ember gives a weak flicker, then dims further. Almost gone. The space it leaves behind is not empty. It is calm, a deep, resting calm. The street outside is still, but it is no longer frozen in night. It is shifting, very gently, very slowly. A dog shifts again in its sleep, then settles, unaware. The fountain continues, always the same, always present. Above, the horizon brightens just a little more. The pale gray now holds a faint wash of lighter tone, still soft, still quiet, but undeniably changing. The darkness above it begins to loosen, like fabric gently unfolding. The city does not wake, but it is no longer fully asleep.
It exists in a delicate in-between space where nothing has begun, but nothing has fully ended. The air feels lighter, the stone feels cooler, the world feels suspended in quiet anticipation. And then, very gently, the first real touch of dawn begins to form along the horizon. Not a burst, not a glow, just the softest beginning of light returning to the world. Rome waits, still, quiet, and ready for morning. Now the change is no longer uncertain. It is no longer something barely felt. It is here. Softly, steadily, it arrives. The horizon begins to glow with a faint, pale light. Not bright, not strong, but unmistakable. A quiet wash of color spreading slowly beneath the dark sky. The night does not vanish. It simply yields, slowly, without resistance. The fountain continues its endless rhythm, water falling into stone, water gathering, water continuing. But now even its sound feels different, less like the only presence in the world, and more like part of a larger awakening. The street begins to reveal its shape again. Roofs that were once only shadows now show their edges. Walls regain their texture. Doorways return to form. Everything is still quiet, but now it is visible again. Inside the homes, the last remnants of night remain only in faint, fading darkness. The embers are gone. Firelight is no longer present, but a sense of warmth still lingers in the walls. A woman shifts slightly in her resting place. Her sleep is lighter now, not yet waking, but closer to it. Above, the sky changes more clearly. The pale gray at the horizon begins to blend with a soft, early glow, a hint of gold, very faint, very gentle. It does not spread quickly. It spreads like breath, slow, natural, unforced. The darkness above begins to lift, not all at once, but in layers, like something slowly unfolding after long rest. The rooftops are now clearly visible, their shapes defined, their presence returning to the world. A figure appears again in the street, this time more visible than before. They walk slowly through the growing light. Their movement is calm, unhurried. They pause near the fountain, look at the water, then continue walking. No sound follows them, only quiet presence. The fountain remains steady, its flow unchanged, but now it reflects a faint hint of the new light. The water glimmers slightly, just enough to notice. A breeze moves gently through the street. It is no longer cold. It is soft, balanced between night and morning. It carries nothing heavy, only a sense of arrival. Inside one home, a final shift of movement. A hand reaches out, touches the wall, then withdraws. Stillness again, but different stillness now. Lighter, more awake. The city is not active yet, but it is no longer asleep. It is becoming aware, slowly, quietly, naturally. A dog lifts its head briefly, then settles again, this time half awake. The fountain continues, always present, always steady. Above, the sky grows brighter. The gold at the horizon strengthens slightly. Still soft, still gentle, but no longer faint. The transition is now visible across the entire edge of the world. Night above, morning below, meeting in a slow, quiet blend. The streets of Rome are now fully visible, not busy, not alive with motion, but revealed, as if the city itself is remembering its shape. The silence remains, but it is no longer deep night silence. It is morning silence, a different kind, one that holds expectation, one that gently opens the world.
The fountain flows on, and in its rhythm, the city breathes again, slowly, quietly, softly. Dawn has truly begun. Rome is no longer in night, but not yet fully in day. It rests now in the first living glow of morning.
The dawn continues to grow, not quickly, not loudly, but steadily, like something patient returning after a long absence. The pale glow at the horizon strengthens a little more. Soft gold now mixes with the early gray. The sky is no longer dark in the same way. It is opening, slowly unfolding across the wide space above Rome. The rooftops are now clearly visible. Their lines and shapes are no longer hidden. They stand quietly beneath the returning light, still, familiar, present. The fountain continues its constant flow, water falling, water gathering, water continuing. But now it reflects the morning more clearly. Tiny flashes of light ripple across its surface, subtle, soft, almost like breathing. The street begins to change again, not suddenly, not with movement all at once, but piece by piece. A door opens gently, then another. Wood shifts, hinges whisper, and slowly the city begins to return to itself. A man steps outside. He pauses at the threshold, letting his eyes adjust to the new light. His posture is relaxed, unhurried. He does not speak. He simply stands there for a moment, and then steps forward. His footsteps are soft on the stone. Another figure appears further down the street, then another. Movement returns in scattered places, not organized, not fast, just natural, like the slow unfolding of a thought. Inside the homes, people begin to stir more clearly now. A hand reaches for a cloth. A body shifts from rest. A slow breath becomes a waking breath. Still quiet, still gentle, but now awake. A woman opens her shutter halfway. Morning light enters her room. She pauses, looking out at the street, then turns away to begin her day. The light outside grows warmer. The gold along the horizon deepens slightly. Still soft, but more present now, more real. Shadows begin to shorten again, not as they were before, but in the reverse of night's long stretch. They retreat slowly. The street feels more defined now, not by sound, but by light. A cart begins to move again in the distance, slow wheels on stone. The sound returns to the street like an old memory, familiar, calm. A man walks beside it, adjusting its load. He does not rush. He matches the rhythm of the morning. The fountain continues, always unchanged. A woman approaches it. She fills a vessel, watches the water for a moment, then lifts it carefully and walks away into the growing light. The breeze returns more clearly now. It is no longer only cool, it carries warmth, the promise of the day. It moves through the narrow streets gently, touching everything without force. Cloth hanging in doorways shifts softly, then settles. The city is now fully awake in parts, not everywhere at once, but in layers. One street, then another, then another. A dog walks across the road. It pauses in a patch of sunlight that has just reached the ground. It stands there for a moment, still, then continues on. Above, the sky is brighter now. The gold of early morning spreads wider. The deep night has fully retreated to the upper sky, no longer dominant, only distant. The city is no longer silent in the way of sleep. It is quiet in the way of beginning. Soft voices begin to appear, faint at first, then slowly more frequent. A shop opens. A stall is arranged. Simple goods are placed carefully into view. The shopkeeper adjusts them with practiced calm. Everything returns to its place. The fountain continues its endless rhythm, a constant in the changing morning. And as more doors open, more footsteps return, more light fills the street. Rome gently wakes, not in rush, not in noise, but in quiet harmony with the returning day. The night has fully given way now, and the city breathes again in the soft light of morning.
Morning is now no longer distant. It is present everywhere. The light has fully crossed the horizon, spreading softly across the city. Not harsh, not bright in a sudden way, but steady, warm, and complete. The sky above Rome is now a calm, pale blue. It still carries the softness of dawn, but the darkness is gone. What remains is a quiet clarity, a sky that feels open and patient. The rooftops stand fully revealed beneath it, stone, tile, and worn edges all visible again. The city has returned to its shape. The fountain continues its steady rhythm, water falling into stone, water gathering, water continuing. But now it is joined by other sounds, soft footsteps, low voices, the quiet movement of a city beginning its day. A man walks through the street carrying a small bundle. He adjusts it once on his shoulder, then continues forward without pause. Another passes in the opposite direction. They do not speak, only a brief glance, a small acknowledgement, then they move on. Inside the homes, life has fully returned. Doors are open wider now. Shutters are lifted. Light fills the interiors. A woman arranges simple items on a table, a bowl, a cup, a piece of cloth, everything placed with familiar care. There is no rush in her movements, only the calm repetition of a daily beginning. A child steps out into the street. He pauses, looking at the brightness. The world feels larger now than it did in the night. He takes a few slow steps forward, then continues walking, uncertain, curious, alive in the quiet morning. The baker's shop begins to fill again. Fresh loaves are brought out. The warm scent of bread spreads gently into the street. People gather slowly, one by one. No urgency, just presence. The exchange is simple. Bread for coin, a nod, a soft word, then movement onward. The fountain remains steady in the center of it all. A man stands beside it, washing his hands. He looks down at the flowing water for a moment, then straightens and leaves. A woman follows after, filling a jar. The water catches the morning light more clearly now. It shimmers gently as it moves. The breeze has become warmer. It moves through the street with ease, carrying the scent of bread, stone, and morning air. It touches cloth hanging from doorways. It brushes against skin. It passes and is gone. The street grows slowly busier, not crowded, not loud, but filled with motion. Carts begin to roll again, wheels turning with steady rhythm. Goods are carried, stalls are arranged, shops open fully now. The city is awake, but still calm, always calm. The older man appears again in the morning light. His pace is unchanged, slow, steady. He moves through the street as if part of its natural rhythm, not separate from it, but within it.
He passes beneath the growing sunlight and continues onward. A dog lies now in a brighter patch of sun, its body relaxed, eyes half closed. It does not move, it simply rests in the warmth of the morning. Above, the sky is fully open, a soft blue stretching endlessly overhead. The sun is higher now, though still gentle. Its light spreads evenly across the city, no longer just dawn, but full morning. The fountain continues, constant, unbroken. A woman fills a vessel and carries it away. A man adjusts a cart and begins to move. Children gather in small groups, their quiet play returning. Voices remain soft. Everything remains measured. Nothing feels rushed. Time itself seems to move through the streets, not pushing, not pulling, just flowing. And in this steady return of life, Rome stands fully awake, not changed, not different, but renewed by the simple arrival of morning. The night is gone, and the city now lives in the soft, balanced light of a new day.
The morning is now fully settled, not new anymore, not just arriving. It is simply here. The light has spread across every part of the city, warm and even, touching stone, wood, cloth, and skin with the same gentle hand. The sky is a steady pale blue above Rome, clear, wide, calm. There is no trace of night left now, only the memory of it held softly in the cool corners of shaded streets. The fountain continues its constant sound, water falling, water gathering, water continuing. It remains unchanged, even as everything around it becomes active again. The city moves in a slow, steady rhythm, never chaotic, never loud, just alive. A man walks through the street carrying a bundle of grain. His steps are even, his shoulders relaxed. He does not hurry. He passes another man who is adjusting a cart. The wheels creak softly as they are set in place. A brief glance is exchanged. No words, only acknowledgement. Then they continue. Inside nearby homes, the day has already taken full shape. Tables are set, simple meals are eaten, bowls are washed, cloth is folded. Every movement is familiar, every action practiced. A woman stands at her doorway watching the street. Her hands rest lightly against the frame. She observes the passing rhythm of people moving through their morning tasks. Then she turns back inside. The street remains gently active. Children move in small groups again. Their voices are low, their steps light. They pass near the fountain, pausing only briefly before continuing on. The baker's shop is now fully alive with activity. Fresh bread is stacked in neat rows. The scent spreads through the street in soft waves. People arrive, take what they need, and move on. No rush, no crowding, just a continuous flow of simple exchange. A man stands near the fountain and washes his hands. The water runs over his fingers, cool, clear. He looks at it for a moment longer than necessary, then steps away. Another takes his place. The fountain does not pause. It does not change. It continues to mark time in its own quiet way. A cart rolls slowly through the street, its wooden wheels turning with steady rhythm. The man guiding it walks beside it, adjusting its balance now and then. He does not look around. He knows the path. The street feels more open now in the morning light. Shadows are short, soft, resting close to the base of walls and steps. The sun is higher, but still gentle. It does not press down. It simply fills the world. A dog crosses the street again. It pauses briefly in a sunlit patch, then continues on without urgency. Above, the sky remains clear. No clouds, only soft blue stretching endlessly. The city breathes in this light, slowly, evenly, without tension. The older man passes once more, his presence unchanged. He moves through the morning as if it has always been this way, as if he belongs to the rhythm of stone and light and sound. And perhaps he does. Inside a doorway, a woman sweeps the ground again. The motion is slow, repetitive, familiar. Dust gathers gently into small lines, then is carried away. A child watches for a moment, then turns and walks off. The fountain continues, always present, always steady. The sound of water blends now with the sound of the waking city. Footsteps, soft voices, carts moving, doors opening. The city is fully alive now, but still calm, always calm. There is no urgency in its movement, only continuity, only rhythm, only the steady unfolding of a shared day. And in this peaceful balance, ancient Rome continues to live its quiet life beneath the morning sun. The city is awake, and the day moves forward, gently, endlessly, without haste.
The morning has now fully matured. It is no longer new. It is no longer arriving. It is simply continuing. The light grows a little stronger now, rising higher across the sky. Still soft, still kind, but more present than before. It rests evenly across the city, filling every open space between buildings. The rooftops of Rome glow faintly under the sun, not bright in a sharp way, but steady, warm, familiar. The fountain continues its quiet rhythm at the center of the street, water falling, water gathering, water continuing. It remains unchanged even as the city around it becomes more active. The sound blends into the background of daily life, no longer standing alone, but still always there. People move through the streets now with steady purpose, not hurried, not slow, just consistent. A man carries a basket of olives. He walks past another who is repairing a small wooden cart. They exchange a brief glance, a small nod, then continue. Inside the homes, life moves in calm repetition. A woman kneads dough slowly on a flat surface. The movement of her hands is steady and practiced. Nearby, a child watches quietly from a low step, not speaking, only observing. The city breathes through these small moments, through work that is simple, through actions that are known by heart. A shop opens wider than before. Shelves are adjusted. Goods are displayed more clearly in the morning light. A customer enters, pauses, chooses, pays, leaves. Each step part of a familiar pattern. Nothing rushed, nothing uncertain. The fountain remains a quiet center. A man stands beside it, filling a jug. He watches the water for a moment as it flows, then lifts the jug carefully and walks away. The street feels warmer now, not just from the sun, but from movement, from presence, from life unfolding in every direction. Shadows have shortened further. They now sit close to the base of walls and doorways, small and soft, almost resting. A dog lies near a sunlit step. It stretches once, then settles again, eyes half closed, completely at ease. Above, the sky is clear and wide, a soft blue stretched evenly across the world. No signs of change, only continuation. The older man appears again, as he has throughout the day. His movement remains unchanged, slow, steady, quiet. He passes through the street as if it is the only way he has ever known. And perhaps for him it is. Children now move more freely through open spaces, their voices still soft, their steps light. They gather near corners, then drift apart again. No fixed pattern, only gentle motion. A baker sweeps flour from a wooden surface. The motion sends a faint dust into the air. It catches the sunlight briefly, then settles again. The fountain continues its constant flow, water meeting stone, stone receiving water, a rhythm that never breaks. Time feels steady now, not rushing forward, not standing still, just flowing through everything. The city is fully awake, fully present, and yet still deeply calm. There is no urgency in its life, only balance, only continuity, only the quiet unfolding of another ordinary day in ancient Rome. The morning has become day, and the city moves gently into its middle hours, steady, peaceful, and alive.
The day continues to unfold, but now it does so without change in feeling. The city has found its rhythm, and it holds it gently. The sun is higher in the sky now, still not harsh, still not overwhelming, just steady light resting over Rome. It touches every surface evenly: stone streets, wooden doors, clay vessels, soft cloth moving on a line in the breeze. Everything is held in the same calm brightness. The fountain continues without interruption, water falling, water gathering, water continuing. It remains the quiet heart of the street, a constant presence through every hour. People pass it now as part of their daily path. Some stop briefly, some do not, but it is always there, always the same. A man fills a small container and pauses for a moment longer than usual. He looks at the water, at the steady motion that never changes. Then he turns away and continues his walk. The street moves gently with life, not crowded, not empty, just filled with ordinary motion. A cart rolls slowly past, its wheels softened by use and time. The man guiding it adjusts his grip once, then continues forward. Inside nearby homes, work continues in quiet repetition. Hands move, objects are placed, food is prepared, surfaces are wiped clean. Every action is simple, every action known. A woman sits near an open doorway, resting for a moment in the shade. She watches the street without focus, only presence, only stillness within movement. A child passes by, carrying something small in both hands. They do not run, they do not stop, they simply move forward. Above, the sky remains wide and pale blue, unchanging, stable. The clouds are absent, the air feels open, the day feels steady. A dog lies fully relaxed now in a warm patch of sunlight, its body still, its breathing slow. It does not move as people pass nearby. It remains part of the ground's quiet warmth. The older man appears once more in the distance, as always, unhurried, unchanged. He walks through the street and fades gently into the rhythm of the city. No beginning, no end, just continuity. The fountain continues its soft sound, a reminder that even as everything moves, something always remains steady. Time no longer feels divided into moments. It feels like a flow, a long, quiet stream carrying everything forward without effort. And in this steady middle of the day, Rome simply lives, not dramatically, not loudly, but gently, fully, ordinarily. The morning has become part of the day, and the city continues its quiet, endless rhythm beneath the calm light of the sun.